Hey, welcome to a little tutorial on how to make pop-up dialogues in Android. Just going to start a new project, call it dialogs, hit next, and we're going to use an empty activity, hit next, main activity, next. So I'll show you how to use the built-in dialogues and then how you can make custom dialogues in case you want to put some edit text in there, a list view, or whatever you want to put in there. And this is just going to be very basic. I'm just going to put two buttons inside of the app, and one will launch the default builder, and one will launch our custom dialog. And that's very, very easy. Just like you create a layout and you set the content view, it's pretty much the same. But we'll start with the default one. We're just going to go into our activity main and put two buttons in here. And we're going to say the text for this one, default, and we're going to give this on click default button, and we're just going to copy and paste this down, and we're going to call this one custom, and the click listener will be custom. If you do not follow this part right here, search on my other tutorials on listeners and you'll be able to follow what's happening right here, but this tutorial specifically for the dialogues. Okay, so we're just going to go on our main activity and set that up. All right, so for our default one, we'll just go ahead and set that up. And what we're going to use is an alert dialog builder. So we'll put alert dialog dot builder. We're going to call it builder. And since API 21 and up, you can give it a theme. So we'll set up a conditional for that. If you want to, you don't have to. So we're going to ask if the build version SDK int is greater than or equal to build dot version codes dot lollipop. Then we'll do this, else this, okay? So our builder equals new alert dialog builder. First parameter is the context. Second parameter is the theme. We'll just go ahead and give it the alert theme from Android's default styles. Right there. And if it's before that, we will just give it the context. Okay, so that's the builder. And then you can builder dot give it a title. This is the title. And you can just keep setting up this dialog. So we're going to do dot set message, the message you want. And then we can set up our buttons to handle actions like our positive listener and our negative listener, or our yes and no button. So set positive button. And what we want it to say is the first parameter, so we'll put yes. Second parameter is the listener, so we'll do a new dialog interface on click listener, and it shall pop up. And we're just going to do a toast. Default yes button clicked. We're just going to put actually default dialog yes button clicked. We're going to show that. All right, and then we're also going to set a negative button. But no, first parameter is also the message for the button, and new dialog interface on click listener. And we're just going to do nothing for this one. The negative button will cancel out this dialog by itself. And you can even put an icon on these. So let's do that right now. Set icon. So I'm just going to use, once again, an Android default one. I'm going to use the info. And finally, we're going to show this dialog. Okay. So basically, for the default button, we've created a alert dialog builder object, and we've set up a conditional. If it's greater than your build tools is greater than API 21 or SDK 21, you can add a theme to it. Otherwise, it'll just be the default, which we pass the context to. And you can set your title. There's many other settings you can do. You can play around with it, but your basics is the title, the message, your yes button, and your no button. And this is good, but we're going to go ahead and set up our custom one too, in case you want more than just a yes or no button. Let's say you want an edit text. So similar to how you set a layout in an activity, is just exactly what you're going to do here. So we're going to go to layout, right click, new, XML layout file, and we're going to call this dialog 1, hit finish. Linear layouts, that'll be okay. Well, we'll do relative layout. Okay, match parent, and we're going to put an edit text in here. Width will be match parent, height, wrap content. We're going to give this an ID of ID ET in dialog. For edit text in dialog, we're going to set a hint text here. And then we're going to have a button with wrap content. Oh, we'll do match parent. So height, wrap content, and we're going to say ID show toast, and we are going to say this is going to be below ET in dialog, and we're just going to copy and paste this button. I'm sorry, let's give this some text. Show toast. And I'm going to copy and paste it. Text is going to be dismiss below the show toast. And this one will be dismiss in dialog. Let's see how this looks in our design tab. Perfect. All right, so it won't take up the whole screen. That's what's cool about how this works. This is just how the layout looks. So what we're going to do is go back to our main activity, and inside of our custom button, we're going to create a dialog object and pass the context. Okay, with this, we're also going to create a view object. and inflate. Let's see, Control P to get our parameters, our resource, and null. So we're going to inflate r.layout.dialog1 and null as our second parameter. Non-static method inflate cannot be referenced from static const. Maybe I got the wrong one. Okay, sorry about that, but we're going to get layout inflator dot inflate, not inflator dot inflate, but get layout inflator dot inflate. And first parameter will be the resource, so r dot layouts dot dialog1 and null for the second parameter. And so we're going to take the dialog, set content view just like the activity, and we're going to pass our view to it. So we've made a dialog object, a view object. We've given that view object the newly created layout that we did. So that view represents that layout, and we're going to set it inside of this little dialog box that pops up. And so what's cool about this is we can also use the widgets inside of that. So we're going to do final edit text et equals just like you do for your onCreate for your activity. But instead, we're going to use the view.find view.id. And the reason we're making this final is because we're going to access it within an inner class. So we got final button, show toast button. And we have a dismiss button. Show toast ID is show toast. Okay. Just to make sure that's not confusing, let me go back here. Okay, so we have identified our view, and inside of that view, we're finding our widgets. Okay, so what we're going to do is our show toast button. We're going to set a listener, new, just like you would in the activity. Okay, and on click, what we're going to do is et.getText.toString.trim. We're going to show that into a toast. So let's make that into a string in et now equals that, and we're going to show that in a toast. Okay, and watch what happens here. If I take away this final, the et gets underlined because it's accessed from within an inner class. That's why I put final here. You can also make it a global variable up there if you want to. Same thing with the dialogs. You can make them global variables if you want to access them and reuse the object. But just for this example, this will do. Okay, so let's set up a listener for the dismiss button. Dismiss.set on click listener, new view dot on click listener. Okay. And then inside of here, see, we also need to, I think, make this dialog final because we're going to dismiss it from within this inner class. So let's see, dialog.dismiss. No, wait a minute. Interesting. Oh, it is final already. Or it made it final by itself. Okay. Anyways, So you have to call this dialog.miss to cancel it out. And what we're going to do is finally call dialog.show. So we've created our dialog object, created a view object, set the view inside of the dialog, located our widgets inside of that view, set up some listeners for them, and let's see how this plays out. I'm going to go ahead and build it and run it. I got my phone pulled up. Let's see here. I'm going to pause the video while the Gradle builds. Sometimes it takes a little bit. All right, so we're going to hit default first and see how this pops up as the message. This is the alert dialog builder that we did. And I can hit yes, default dialog, yes button clicked. As you can see, you can set up a listener to start something else, do whatever you want to. And we're going to launch our custom one now. And as you can see, our custom message appeared. It doesn't take up the whole screen. And just look at this compared to that and how that works. See, it wraps it all up. Even though we got match parent in there, it wraps it all up. So, and then you can do whatever you want to inside of here. So I'm just going to put hope you enjoyed, and I'm going to put show toast. See how that works? You can have a pop-up message for this, and maybe you want to insert some data into Firebase or a database, or just show a toast, whatever you want to do, you can do it, because you can access this stuff almost like an activity, just like this is an edit text inside of an activity, except it's in a dialog. You created the view, you put it in a dialog, and you set the content view. I'll copy and paste this this code just from this right here into the comment section on this video, just so you can look at it. But yeah, set up your listeners for your widgets inside of that view and do whatever you want to with them. All right, cool.